Welcome to the Check Swing Podcast with myself, and of course, the star of the show, Coach Sanders in the building yet again. Shout out to Rob. He couldn't be there with us today. He couldn't be with us today. Taking care of some business, as all people have to take care of business at times. So, we'll check on him next week. But Coach Sanders, it's been a week.
Yo.
I always like to start the show by asking my people how they been. So, Coach Sanders, how you been?
Been well, sir. My first weekend with Dirtbags, we went 2-1. Had a pretty good offensive showing. We won 5-0 in the first game and 12-7 the next game. So it put us in a gold bracket for the playoff, and I think the Heat caught up to us the next day. So, but yeah, looking good for the summer season. So, still recovering. I think I have dehydration, heat stroke, and I don't know. I'm good. I'm hydrating.
Just have a whole bunch of stuff.
Something like that.
Definitely stay hydrated. Definitely want to stay hydrated. It's been what a week it's been. Quite a week in sports. We all know the U.S. Olympic trials have started in several activities, several sports, several sports. I don't know categories. When it's Olympics, you say the sports or the categories, or I don't know.
Sports.
It's different sports. I wasn't planning on getting into this discussion. I don't know if we will, but I tend to say that if it's not in the Olympics, it's not a sport. You know what I mean? And I don't mean it literally. I mean, like, if it couldn't be an Olympic sport, it's not a sport. But everything these days could be an Olympic sport. But is everything in the Olympics a sport?
No. I mean, because what is then you got to kind of not dumb it down, but you got to kind of backtrack and say, okay, what is sport?
For instance, to me, and I don't know what it's called. It might be equestrian, but I don't think it is. Horse dancing is not a sport to me. It's interesting to watch, but I mean, it's an activity. I'm not saying it's easy to do, but I don't see that as a sport.
So
on there
doing the crip walk, like I think it becomes a sport when Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart are commentating about. So let me run through. Yeah, that was hysterical. So some of the sports, I believe what you're referring to is actually called dressage. It's a form of horse riding performed in exhibition and competition. There's show jumping, which is when they kind of jump prettily over the things in the water and whatnot. I think the most annoying thing to watch in the Olympics is race walking.
He said it's the most annoying. It's annoying and interesting at the same time for me.
It's what?
It's annoying and interesting at the same time for me. Because it's like, all right, they're really getting down on this walking. Like, they're really walking a lot faster than I was expecting them to walk. And they're going at it. And they look funny doing it, but they're keeping the pace, they're keeping the stride, they're keeping the form. Okay. But it's annoying because it's like, yo, just run.
I know, it's like just pick it up and you can't.
But one of the rules of it is one of your feet have to be engaged in the ground at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, once it's not, that's considered running, I guess, and that's like a penalty or something.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, do you have to switch that hard?
Probably.
So I was
interested in knowing what the mile per hour is that they're walking.
They actually, I remember watching one time. That's how annoying that was. But I do remember watching it one time, and it actually specified you can't be above X amount, point whatever miles an hour. And I saw they actually disqualify people like on the spot. Said, nope, you're out. You went too fast, or they make you go back from the point that you oversped, and then you have to walk from that point again. But I don't know if that was a trial, if that was in the actual Olympics. But I do remember seeing something similar to that. I was like, damn, this thing is deep.
That's kind of unfair though, to tell somebody they can't go over a certain speed. Like that's like telling Simone Biles, the thing that nobody else can do it, so we're gonna penalize you for doing it because nobody else can.
But I
Like
mean,
as long as they're engaged with the track, doing it and engaged with the track with their feet, I think it's walking, right?
I mean, it is. Yeah. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong or thinking of something else. Maybe I'm thinking.
I'm just saying, like that would be a messed up rule.
No, it does sound messed up now that you say it.
You might have platform feet.
Yeah. What if you're flat? What if
the ground longer?
What if you're flat-footed?
I don't know. I don't know. But that we did not plan on talking about that. Let me tell you, I guarantee you we did not plan on talking about that.
I am all in though on trampolining.
I like trampoline just because they doing all the stuff in the trampoline that you always like kind of dreamed you would do if you got on a trampoline. But then when you get on the trampoline, it's probably like one of them little exercise joints and you can't do nothing. Or you're just scared to break your neck. Uh-oh.
Hello?
We're having a little difficulty. Okay, he's back. You got me?
I got you.
All right, he's back. I don't know if you caught what I said, but you said you like trampoline, low key like trampoline.
Yes.
And I said that I like trampoline as well, and I think it's because we all imagined ourselves doing all these things that they're doing when we get on the trampoline, but we never do them because we're like scared. Or it's that little exercise trampoline, something along those lines. Let's keep into the topic of the Olympics in a sense. Let's talk about the U.S. Olympic trials, in particular the track and field Olympic trials, and more in particular the 400-meter dash run. 16-year-old Quincy Wilson out of Bullis School, just outside of D.C. I know people that went there. You probably know people that went there too. I'm not. I feel like I say this a lot, and I'm not easily impressed by things. Very impressed by Quincy Wilson and what he was accomplishing all year, really. Because I've been following him all year since I'm going to say since indoor, not all year. Since the indoor season, I've been following him. Impressive to be doing that at that age, at 16. Miguel, I don't know how into track you have ever been, if at all. I'll put it in perspective. My best 400-meter time when I was running track in high school, 51 seconds. That was my best. Now you're at state level in a lot of states. You're at state level. You can run 50, 49, something like that. 48, absolutely. 47, absolutely. The amazing athletes and a lot of the college 400-meter runners can run a 46, 47, 46. The better ones run a 45 consistently. The elite runners are the ones that can get to 44. 44 seconds around the track. And he's doing that at 16 years old. Not only that, he set 2 world records in his for the under 18. age group at the U.S. Olympic trials, as well as qualify for the finals, running against college kids and grown men and champions. And unfortunately for him, he didn't automatically qualify. He ended up coming in sixth place, but still ran amazing. He still ran under 45 seconds. I think it's amazing for a young man his age. I know he had to run at least 3 races, and all of them he ran under 45 seconds. Now I don't know. I've never been at that level. Okay, I don't know what his training is like. I don't know, what his recovery is like. But to do that as a grown man is taxing. He's doing it at 16. I think we're going. I expect to see a lot of this kid over the next few years, and hear his name quite.
And I think what's fascinating is when you said he broke 2 world records, he actually broke the world record and then broke his own record for under 18. So that's pretty impressive. My fastest time running a 400. Now, keep in mind, I was an offensive lineman that didn't run much, and I was a catcher that hated running. So I think I was like, I don't know, low to mid 60s.
Okay.
But who's counting? There might have been a 7 or a 9er in there. But just absolutely impressed with this young man. And just looking forward to seeing him in the future. He has all the makings of the American version of Usain Bolt, but if there is such a thing.
And the 400 for sure. The 400 for sure. But we still may see him in Paris. He can still make the Olympic team on the relay, on the 4x4.
On the relay, that's right. I thought there was another.
I'm hoping he gets an opportunity and is able to take the opportunity, and does take the opportunity if it shall fit him, because that would be amazing to see him running the Olympics at 16 years old. Hit us up, 669-275-0548. We got some things we're going to talk about today. What do I want to talk about first, Miguel? Christopher Sanchez. We want to talk about that one first?
Sure.
Christopher Sanchez inks a 4-year extension. That is the Phillies pitcher. He is in the starting rotation. And Miguel, what do you think this means for the rotation's future?
I like it. Young lefty, needed a lot of work. He was actually, I think, a Rule 5 from Tampa Bay a couple years ago. He used to actually throw in like the low hundreds, but they did something with his mechanics so that way he actually wouldn't throw harder. But he was pretty much a thrower. And then they added, I think, a changeup and a slider to his arsenal, and that's where he's been the most successful. So was it 4 years, 22.5 mil? And he eats innings. He's a guy that gives you quality starts, 7 innings, 6 innings, 8 innings here and there. I would have thought they would re-sign Ranger first, but I think I'm hoping that they'll sign him soon, but I have a feeling it's just a matter of, because I think one of the big free agents that we picked up a couple years ago comes off the books, I think this year or next, or whatever the case may be. Not that they need to worry about budget, but
you mean one of the big free agents that we don't have anymore,
that we won't have after this season. Like I'm trying to think. I think Schwarber is in the last year of his deal. I think Castellanos is like on the second of a 3 or 4 year deal.
Okay.
So just kind of balancing it out. But by all accounts, I've read that the Phillies are interested in, nailing down Suarez as well. So I mean, it looks like it builds the rotation for at least another 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, they got to figure it out. Because the team that they have right now is doing well. And they're battling and competing. Go ahead.
And the Phillies right now have the top 3 starters in the National League in ERA. Rangers at 1.5, Sanchez is 2.67, and Zach Wheeler's at 2.7. So when, what is that, 75% of your rotation is tops in Major League Baseball. I mean, tops in the National League. It's like you gotta nail that down.
You gotta lock him in. You gotta lock him in. He's a young arm too. A young arm too. He does his thing. I enjoy watching him pitch, as well as Ranger Suarez, of course. I have a question for everybody watching and for you. What would be your ultimate sports moment, Coach Santa? Like, and what I mean is, like, would it be the buzzer beater? You know, how you in your backyard, 3, 2, 1, you hit the buzzer beater and win a championship. Would it be like a hole in one? Would it be winning 100-meter? I don't know, 400 meters. What would be your ultimate sports moment?
I think hitting a walk-off grand slam. In my entire baseball, including Little League, I actually hit 2 grand slams in one game. And this happened in 92. Oh man, my neck and my back. But I always remember that because it was the first time I was playing against like my friends per se. I was on the Alney Midget Teen League. And my buddy was on the Pirates. I was on the Red Sox. And I remember my first at bat, I hit like a double right off my buddy's glove. It was a 2-run double, and then the next at bat, I hit this really high. I never thought I could hit a ball that high, but I did. But I got lazy and I was like, that's gone, and it landed like right on the warning track. So I only made it to first base. So my coach chewed me out. I was like, oh my God, I'll never do that. I did it. Da, 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 da. And then the next 2 at bats, I came up with the bases loaded, and I just remember for whatever reason they kept throwing me fastballs, and I kept hitting them. And it was such a unique moment. I hit 2 home runs, a double, a single, so I was a triple away from the cycle, but I wasn't fast enough for that. So I think I had a total of 10 or 11 RBIs in that game. So at the end of the season, they gave me the home run award for the season, and they also gifted me free Phillies tickets. And at the time, this was at the Vet. Free Phillies tickets, and it was on the box seats, third base side. But it was kind of like, it was melancholy because I wanted to bring my best friend, who technically was on the team that helped me get that award. And my brother came in and said, yeah, your friend's not going, I'm going. And and yeah, he bullied his way into the situation, and he said, tell your friend he's not coming. And so I had to deliver that news because I wasn't driving. But it was bittersweet because I had to tell my friend you're not going after I promised him. And then but it was the first time I ever saw my favorite catcher growing up, Darren Dalton, play. And just being able to see like, wow, like Darren Dalton in human form, and not through like cable television at the time, Prism or whatever. So it was wound up winning, so there was that plus, but I don't think my friend cared that much.
Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't too happy about that. But Darren Dalton, a cool dude, man. Rest in peace, Darren Dalton. I was thinking about what my ultimate sports moment would be. And mine is a little different. And if it's not a sport, call me on it and I'll pick something else. Okay?
What do you mean?
If what I say when I tell you what my ultimate sports moment would be, and if you feel like it's not a sport, call me because it's different. But if you feel like it's not a sport, call me on it and I'll pick something different.
It's not esports, is it?
No.
Okay. It's not roller derby, is it?
Sports moment would be Winning the World Series of Poker on a royal flush hand. That would be my ultimate sports moment. Go ahead, think about that.
So I know poker is on ESPN,
Hmm.
but this is a sport.
That's what I was saying. Like, I play poker. It's a. If I had to argue for poker being a sport, I would say it's a mental sport, not a physical sport. It's a very mental sport. Very mental. And I think the higher level you play, the more of a mental sport it is. Like you can play with your homies and you can know that your homie what your homie does. You can know how your homie might play. Cool. But when you play with strangers, you have to figure all that out in a matter of time and then work your game into a way to defeat them. So now that I've given you some time, what say you?
Um, I would say that is disqualified.
Okay. All right. If you disagree with Miguel, hit us up 669 548, or of course you can leave a comment. So then my ultimate sports moment actually would probably be honestly, it probably wouldn't be like a championship or anything like that. It would be dunking on somebody, but like it's got to be a certain way. Like it's got to be like the tomahawk, bring the ball way back here. You know what I mean? Like way back here. My feet are even behind me. I almost touch the ball with my feet. And the person jumps and I just was right, like boom, and like they fall and I land over top and just that would be my ultimate sports moment. Being that I'm 5'4", that would
That's
just be amazing for me.
now I wonder because I'm actually on the Olympic sports site, so I'm trying to see well what sports are admitted, and I forgot that one of the sports that they're allowing is breaking,
That's right.
breakdancing. Yep.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So I think I'm actually going to be in tune to that.
I'm definitely going to check that out.
I'm trying to see what the rules are on it.
Um, but yeah, that would hit us up. Let us know what your ultimate sports moment would be if you have had an opportunity. Would it be a hole in one? Would it be bowling a 300? Is bowling a sport? That's a question too.
I mean, you can't. I kind of qualify a sport as like, can you play it injured?
Injured?
Yeah,
Not hurt, but injured.
right.
I guess it depends on the injury.
True.
Is your right wrist broken, but you're right-handed? Or did I say that wrong? Your left wrist is broken, but you're right-handed.
Yeah, like in casino, which hand do you deal with? Am I
Right,
right?
right.
Now you're a lefty.
Is golf a sport? I've had that argument only because I play, but I've said golf is a sport on a professional level
Yeah,
because they
I
have
would
to
agree.
win the course.
Mm.
On the level I play, it's not a sport. I wouldn't even call myself an athlete the way I play, but
I would bring my own damn cart. You know.
exactly, exactly. I want to. We're kind of jumping around here all over the place, but I want to bring this up real quick, and I want to give a rest in peace to Sika. I don't know how to say the last name, that family name. It's the Anoa'i, and I hear it all the time.
I think it's Anoa'i.
Sika is a WWE Hall of
Anoa'i.
Famer, well known for being on the Wild Samoans and the Samoan Savage. I think they might have been in WCW at one time. Um, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going off of my memories as a kid. But he passed away today, and prayers up to the family. That is a wrestling family. There's still people in wrestling today related to that family. Roman Reigns, The Rock, I believe, is related to the family. So that family has long lineage in the wrestling world. So rest in peace. Shout out to him. I want to talk about something real quick, and I want to know if you care. Phillies All-Star voting, or the Phillies. Two Phillies are like at the top of the All-Star vote. I believe Bryce Harper is leading the NL in votes, and Alec Bohm is leading the NL in votes at third base, which I'm kind of surprised, to be honest with you. I mean, I like Alec Bohm, but I'm just surprised that listen, our fan base is, you can vote online, so you can vote over and over again, I'm assuming. But he has like 1.9 million votes or something crazy like that. And the person behind him, which is Manny Machado, mind you, has like 554,000 votes or something like that. Help me out, Miguel.
When you see what Alec Bohm came from, because everybody knows, like, was it last season or the season before that? He had a really bad night, had like 3 or 4 hours. He said, "I hate this effing place" or whatever.
Yeah.
Owned up to it, said, "Listen, it was my fault, whatever. I was getting mad at myself. Got a standing ovation for it." But I think he's done so much work on his defense, on his offense. I saw a game. Of course, we lost that game, but I saw the game when the Phillies were here this weekend to face the Orioles. Just his approach to the plate and the fact that he can hit to all fields in a game today where everybody's kind of going for the solo home run. It's like now he's starting to be scary. You know what I mean? He's batting 300, which is, unheard of almost for a third baseman. His defense is a lot better. Still has a ways to go. But what people forget is that when Mike Schmidt first came up, there was a joke that the manager at the time, Danny Ozark, wanted to trade him for a bag of oranges because he said he would get the same production. And this was because of his offense and his defense. Lo and behold, a couple of years later, influenced by Dick Allen, he becomes the best third baseman that ever lived. So it was one of those things where, okay, he learned to have fun. He also busted his behind. And Alec Bohm has kind of that pedigree. I'm not going to sit here and declare him the best third baseman that ever lived, but he's doing the things to make himself a great player. That's what he's starting to do, and it's starting to show in his numbers. Because even in his numbers, let me see where he's at. 310.
They've already extended, right?
No, he's and you don't have to, because I think right now he's still like, I think he's in the 3rd or 4th year of the 6-year rookie contract.
Okay.
Or is he in the last year?
Rookie contract?
Yeah, because he's only been up for, this is, I believe, his 3rd full season, if I'm not mistaken. So he hasn't been up long.
I didn't realize the rookie contract was 6 years.
Yeah, it's usually 6 years, but a lot of teams are starting to. So what it is, it's 3. That's what it is. He was arbitration eligible for the first time this year, so he actually, I believe he won his case. So the first 3 years you're pretty much stuck, but then after the 3rd year, the last 3 years you're arbitration eligible. So that's why I think Hoskins won his case, Suarez won his case. So there was quite a few young players that were eligible for arbitration and won their cases. But he's showing now you can start to kind of trust him more and more. 310, 9 home runs, 64 RBIs. OPS is at 865. So he's now everything's starting to show in the numbers versus him or anybody saying anything about it. But he could be, you know, right now I believe he has the second best. He has the best batting average of any third baseman in baseball. Um, top 3 or 4 in home runs. I believe he actually has the most RBIs of anyone. So he's coming of age.
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely coming of age, and I want to say I was either I was at one of those games in that series or in that like 3 game span where Alec Bohm with that game that you're talking about when he said I hate
Mhm.
this. I think it might have been the game. I think it might have been the game that he said it because didn't they win that game?
They wound up winning in spite. I think when he made his errors,
No,
the Phillies
it was
lost the
that game.
lead. Yeah.
It was that game because I was sitting next to a Mets fan and he left before the Phillies turned it around
Hmm.
and he kept belching. And, oh my god,
Typical
over
Mets fans.
1,000 years, man. Good lord. Good
I will
lord.
have to say this: kudos to the Orioles fans for taking on the barrage of us Phillies fans. Um,
Mhm.
went to the game, took the light rail in, and I went with my niece, which was a great experience. And we noticed how, or she noticed how, like there's so many Phillies fans, and there's that part where you go from the convention center because the convention center and Camden Yard Station are literally like 2 blocks apart. I don't know why they have 2 stations so close together, but you could see just the sea in the wall of like powder blue, red, white. Not so much the New Jersey yet. I think people are still kind of testing the waters and seeing, whatever. But to see like that mass of humanity be so one sided for a team. And where we sat at, I'll make sure you get those seats because we literally were in shade for like 2.5 hours. It was absolutely glorious. Um, but I think the first batter of the game was, of course, Schwarber, and the crescendo of the standing ovation. You know, the public address announcer was like, let's go, let's go, and then we were like, let's go, man, let's go, Phil. 2 Eagles chants broke out. There were no fights. Um, so it was a great experience though.
That was a lot different from my first and only experience actually so far in Camden Yards where I went at a time prior to the pandemic, um, way prior to I think it was might have been 2017 maybe. Um, went down to Camden Yards. Phillies got trounced, and the Orioles fans gave me the business. Gave me the business. I that was my first time in a stadium as an opposing team fan.
Mm.
Like ever. Like I've never been in the stadium as an opposing team fan ever until that day. And I was just like, damn, all right, they just gonna keep giving me the business. Okay, all right. I don't feel bad for people that catch the business in Philadelphia because everybody catches it. I
Eh,
just
eh,
do because the way they talk about us that other people don't catch the business.
right, and like Orioles fans are not. I'm not saying they're not soft by any means, but they're not Phillies fans. You know what I mean? Um, we got the business, but it was more of like, yeah, we beat you. It's like, yeah, yeah, go screw yourself. There was this one guy who we believe was inebriated because he kept coming on and off the tracks in the platform, and he was trying to sing a song that rhymed with cheesesteaks. And the gist of his song in his blabberdom was along the lines of Philly cheesesteaks suck, go back home. But he was just kind of like, he had a towel that he kept smacking his face up against. He was kind of frothing at the mouth. And there was that guy. But other than that, we did see something that was kind of cute. There was I think a grandfather and a grandson. I guess he lost the bet because he was wearing the old school Larry Boa jersey, number 10. And I think his grandson was like, yeah, he said, all right. And he did like 10 push-ups. So, so I guess that was the bet. So, but for the record, I am 3-0 at Orioles games. Well, technically,
Orioles winning.
The Orioles have won 3 times that I've been there, and all 3 times it was the Phillies, the Mets, and the Yankees.
Yeah, it was great. You should have stayed your behind home that day.
I should have, or gone to the game the night before.
They won the night before, so you did stay home the night before.
Yeah, thanks.
Real quick, I ain't even going to talk about it too much because it really wasn't that eventful. The Phillies triple play last night. Did you see it?
I saw it.
The Tigers just goofed, basically. That's what happened. Tigers goofed.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the guy on third base saw. Like, I don't know.
I think I know because the ball that went back to the pitcher was kind of like a number. It was like a humpback kind of line drive. So my only guess is that he thought that it was a ground, like a chopper off the ground, because he bolted for home. Like he knew he was safe. Yeah. So yeah, but
he didn't see what he thought he saw.
Right. He didn't know what he thought he saw.
He was running like he would beat that throw to the plate.
Yep. But history in the making. It's the first 1-3-5 triple play in 92 years.
Really? Wow.
Because you've seen a lot of triple plays. They're like the hardest one, which is the third to second. You've seen that a couple of times. Mm-hmm. You've seen the line drive to the second baseman, tag the base, go back to first plenty of times. You've even seen a couple from the outfield, a couple of times. But that was a rare event. It was kind of like a lunar eclipse or something. So.
Yeah, it was different. It was different. But speaking of baseball, last week the MLB had a game. Well, actually, we announced on our program last week that the Hall of Famer Willie Mays had passed away, and the Major League Baseball already had plans on having a game at Rickwood Field, which is the oldest field in the United States, probably the oldest field in the world, right? And well, maybe not, but either way, actually, it is. Isn't the oldest baseball field? It's the oldest baseball field in the country. That's what I know.
Right, in the country, but not in the major leagues.
Not in the world, in the country. And they had Reggie Jackson on. And Reggie Jackson talked about his experiences when he played for the minor league team that played in Alabama, the Barons. So check this out.
For you to come back to a play that you played with one of the greatest teams around.
Alex, when people ask me a question like that, it's like coming back here is not easy. The racism that I played here, when I played here, the difficulty of going through different places where we traveled. Fortunately, I had a manager and I had players on the team that helped me get through it. But I wouldn't wish it on anybody. People said to me today, I spoke, and they said, you think you're a better person, you think you won when you played here in Concord. I said, I would never want to do it again. I walked into restaurants and they would point at me and said, the nigger can't eat here. I would go to a hotel and they say, the nigger can't stay here. We went to Charlie Finley's country club for a welcome home dinner and they pointed me out with the N-word. He can't come in here. Finley marched the whole team out. Finally, they let me in there. He said, we're going to go to the diner and eat hamburgers. We'll go where we're wanted. Fortunately, I had a manager, Johnny McNamara, that if I couldn't eat in the place, nobody would eat. We'd get food to travel. If I couldn't stay in a hotel, they'd drive to the next hotel and find a place where I could stay. Had it not been for Raleigh Fingers, Johnny McNamara, Dave Duncan, Joe and Sharon Rudy, I slept on their couch 3-4 nights a week for about a month and a half. Finally, they were threatened that they would burn our apartment complex down unless I got out. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
Whew. Quite an experience. Quite an experience the great Reggie Jackson had before he was the great Reggie Jackson. I'm not saying that it would have been different, if it happened afterwards, because I'm sure he went through some stuff afterwards. One of my favorite parts of that interview wasn't shown just here when he talking about he would beat somebody's ass. That was funny. That part was funny, but he was serious though.
Mm-hmm.
He was serious. Cheltenham's on. Philly's on Reggie Jackson. Did you catch that game, Miguel?
I caught it in parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I think I was caught up in some of the storytelling because with Reggie being on the show, he's he definitely has a lot of opinions on things. A lot. I mean, he's lived the life. I know he's popular for being a Yankee. 3 home runs in a World Series and stuff like that. But people always forget that he actually won more World Series as an Oakland A, and one of the last real dynasties other than the Cincinnati Reds and the Yankees in 2000. But, he was a winner before he came to New York. And, there was a quote in the paper when he first became a Yankee, "I'm the straw that stirs the drink." And I think out of all the Yankees, other than like Lou Gehrig, he would probably be the only other Yankee jersey I would ever wear because of the fact that he told the people what he was and what he's going to do, and he did it. He got the fans to stop booing him. He's probably the only person that is ever been humanly possible to shut up Yankees fans. So mad respect to him.
Reggie's a special person. Special person.
Mm-hmm.
It's been an exciting week in sports. Last night was like an exciting day because I was flipping through a few things. I wanted to see Quincy Wilson run, but all the Olympic trials, all the races. I was watching all that. I wanted to see Tennessee and Texas A&M playing in the men's college World Series. Shout out to the Tennessee Volunteers winning their very first title, baseball title. But I also wanted to see some of this here.
20 seconds to go. One last gasp for Edmonton. Bouchard's pass didn't click with Draisaitl. 12 seconds to go. Florida trying to end it up against the wall, which would be fitting. 3 seconds to go.
So what this is, if you're not able to tell, what this is the Florida Panthers winning their franchise's very first Stanley Cup. It was a Game 7 though. That's what makes it so special. Game 7 of any championship series is always special. I believe this was actually probably the most hockey I watched all season, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe the series, if I heard correctly, Florida went up 3-0, and then Edmonton came back and won the next 3 games.
Yep. And I think that's why a lot of people were watching to see if Edmonton could come back and do the unthinkable in a Stanley Cup. I believe the last team to do it, I want to say it was the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 40s, where they were down 3-0 and then won 4 straight to win the actual Stanley Cup.
They were the only team to have done it until the Yankees blew that 3-0 lead to the Red Sox.
But also remember too, the last time the Flyers went to the Stanley Cup,
they also did it.
They did it. Yeah, they were down 3-0 to the Boston Bruins.
Mm-hmm. And but that wasn't the Stanley Cup. That wasn't the championship. And the Red Sox and the Yankees was not a championship. So could have been history making for both teams. Not for both teams. But for both teams, because Florida would have been in the history books too for that one.
For choking.
669-275-0548. But I was flipping through all that stuff yesterday, and it felt like a Saturday. On Saturday nights there's a whole bunch of sports on, especially like in the fall or the spring. There's a whole lot of sports on, a bunch of college football games or something you could watch. Baseball game here, there, the doggone playoffs are on. Man, last night was fun, and I'm looking forward to the Olympics this summer. Very much so. I'm a very big fan of the Olympics. Very, very big fan of the Olympics. So I'll be watching as much as I can. All right. So look, we're gonna get up out of here. It's about that time. We want to thank you for. Did I forget anything, Miguel? Before I shut it down?
We covered everything.
Okay. All right. We're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us here on the Check Swing Podcast with myself and the star of the show, Coach Miguel Sanchez. We'll talk to y'all next time right here, same place. Oh, make sure you follow us on the on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Check Swing Podcast on Instagram. You can email us at checkswingpc@gmail.com, and make sure you follow our YouTube channel. And our home base, that's youtube.com/New Twist Radio. With that being said, now we're going to get up out of here. Talk to y'all next time here on the Check Swing Podcast. Peace.